In this video I'm going to talk about location listener. We're going to use location listener to check or to listen for changes of latitude and longitude. So I'm gonna start this map. So here we're going to see changes of latitude and longitude. For example, if I go to the United States, you can see that these values get updated. If I move to Mexico, here we have the new latitude and longitude. Also, if I move to Brazil, the same thing. Changes are updated. Now let's move to Argentina, and the same thing happened. So this is the application that we're going to do. So let's start. So the first thing that I have to do is I'm going to design the user interface for this activity. In this case, I only have a text view which doesn't have anything in the text property. It's just a text view. This is the ID for the text view is TV location, and I'm using a relative layout as a container. And yeah, this is the design of the user interface. So close it, and now we're going to the manifest. Since we are requesting the location, we need to add these permissions in the manifest. The first one is access file location, and another permission is access course location. So these are all the permissions that you have to add in the manifest. Then close it, and you have to check which classes we're gonna be importing. So these are the classes that we're gonna use. Okay, so we're going to start by creating a location manager and also a location listener. So then we have to create our location manager, and this is how we create the location manager, where we have to pass a location service, and then we're going to create our location listener. This location listener is going to be listening for location changes. So this is location listener is an interface, so we have to override its methods. These are its methods. Is on location change. Another one is on status change, on provider enable, and on provider disable. These are all the methods from the location listener. So when the location listener realizes that there is a change on location, it's gonna pass the new location using this location object, and then we have to get the longitude and also the latitude, and we're gonna format this value so that we can pass it to the text view like this. And we don't need this. Okay, however, if not, we also have to check what kind of SDK we have, and we're gonna check the SDK like this using an if statement. So if our phone is using an SDK that is greater or equals to Android M, well, we have to check for permissions. However, if we are using an SDK that is lower than this Android version, we don't have to check it. So we can call the show location method. Okay, and if we check, so after checking the SDK version, then after checking the SDK version, we have to check for permissions. And the permissions that we're going to be checking is access file location and access course location. If we don't have permission, well, we have to request permission. In this case, this is how we check. This is how we check for permission. This is how we request permissions. We are going to pass the permissions that we want to check, that we want to request, and then we need to use a request code. In this case, the request code is defined here. This is the request code, and if we have permissions, we don't have to request it anymore because we already have them. So in that case, we can call show location. If we request permissions, then we have to go to the on request permission results and override it. So we have to identify which request code we're getting on this on request permission result using a switch statement. And if the code is for location permission, for a location permission request, well, we're gonna call the show location. So all these are possible scenarios that we can face, that we can have. And in this method, in the show location, we are going to use the location manager to request for location updates. And here we need to pass what provider will use. when we want to request for location updates, in this case we are passing 0. That means that we are not considering the time, and then the minimum distance. In this case, this is in meters, so we are checking for location updates when there is a distance of 10 meters between our location. And the last parameter that we have to pass is a location listener, which is this one. And this is it. This is all the things that we have to do. So let's run the application again. And as you can see, these are the values that I have for longitude and for latitude. So let me start the map again and just from Argentina we're gonna move to Canada, and here we have an update in our location. So this is it. Thanks for watching.